This is an introduction video tutorial showing you some of the basic graphing features of Geogebra. Now in Geogebra you can plot points, you can plot equations, and you can plot inequalities. You can also plot functions which can be typed in using your keyboard or the virtual keyboard here. Lots of functions available there. And this is very useful for when we're getting on to transformations and also any calculus. And we can also plot relations. Now, whenever we plot a graph, often we want to change the way that it looks, so we can change what we see on the screen in a number of ways. First of all, I can just grab the screen around, I can zoom in and zoom out, or I can even stretch the axes. Here I'm clicking on Shift and I can stretch that axis there. Now then, I've plotted a circle which no longer looks like a circle. So if I want to have a little bit more control about how the graph looks, then I need to find the settings. This is in a number of places, and what we're looking for is this settings cog, which comes up in several places on Geogebra. Any of those will find it. Now then, the menu that we have available here depends upon what you have clicked. So at the moment there's nothing selected in the window, but if I click it in and I select the graph here, then you may have noticed that this extra menu came available. The one I'm interested in is this one here, which is going to control the way the screen looks. Let me just drag that over there. So currently the X and the Y axes are controlled by these values, which I can change. And you'll notice that it's still not looking like a circle. Well, what I need to do is have my X to Y axis ratio as 1 to 1, like that. And if I want that to remain in such a ratio, I click on Fix there. Now there's a number of things I can change in this. So if I click on the axis, X-axis, I can show the axis. I can show the numbers on the axis or not. I can only show part of that. And I can even control what numbers I show on that axis. Similarly for the y-axis, I can do those things. The grid is quite a good useful thing to know about. Here it's being shown, there it's off. Currently it's showing the major and the minor grid lines. I might only want part of that. And also I can control how my grid is, so I can force it to be always every one for the x-axis and y-axis if I want to. I also might be interested in controlling the way the graph looks, and if I click on the graph, this little menu becomes available. So click out of it so you see the difference. And I can change the color of the graph. I can change the way the lines look, so they can be thicker or thinner, they can be dotted or not, and I can put different labels on. So at the moment it's showing the label to be f, the name of the function. I can take that off. I can put the value with that so it displays the whole of the function. Now currently this object is fixed, which means I can't move it, but if I want to change it, I can do that by unclicking that, which means that I can now move this function around. And if I come to this magnet and go to Fix to Grid, now when I move this around, it will only move to the values of my grid that I defined before. In other words, x1 and y is equal to 1. Now if I want to have a little bit more control about the appearance, again I can click on the cog, and provided that I'm clicking on the thing that I want to change, this menu becomes available and I can have a little bit more control about the colour and the style and other things.